My hope is that the president-elect coming in takes a similarly constructive approach, finding areas where we can cooperate with Russia, where our values and interests align, but that the president-elect also is willing to stand up to Russia where they are deviating from our values and international norms.
That was President Obama speaking just moments ago in Berlin, Germany, where he addressed Donald Trump's promise to improve relations with Russia. But is Obama trying to influence Trump's foreign policy? Before he even moves into the White House, joining me right now, world-renowned terror expert and author of the best-selling book, Defeating Jihad, Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Dr. Gorka, good to have you here.
Great to be back on the show, Trish.
So, you know, in watching that, I'm curious to get your thoughts. We know that Putin and Trump spoke the other day. They had a phone call. Apparently it went somewhat well. Donald Trump has indicated that we should work with Russia to fight ISIS. We have a common enemy. But there are many members of the Democratic Party and many world leaders, frankly, that are very nervous about that idea. What is it that has them so scared, and are they overreacting?
If they're scared, then that's because they're hostage to manufactured liberal media fallacies. There is no hidden agenda with Russia. If there was anybody who had unhealthy connections to the Kremlin, it was Hillary Clinton, not President-elect Trump. I have met on several occasions with his senior national security advisor, General Flynn. That individual, we've discussed Russia together. This team understands that Russia is a strategic nation, but also that it's run by a former KGB colonel. He is not a natural ally of our values or Western values. What he did in the Ukraine, in Crimea, his undermining of the Baltic states, his buzzing of the California coastline with strategic bombers, nobody should be the only people who should be worried about President Trump are America's enemies.
Well, you know, you heard from the German reporters. One German reporter got up and said, you know, is Trump going to be a threat effectively to the world? And I said at the top of the show, it looks like the German media is giving him an even more hostile reception than many members of the U.S. media. But, you know, to a certain extent, the guy's not even there yet. You got to give him somewhat of a chance. Quickly, we were just looking at some video of you there at Trump Tower. You were clearly, as you mentioned, you were talking to General Flynn, and you've talked to, you know, many members of his transition team. What's your thought there? Might you be heading to the White House, Dr. Gorka?
I always say the same thing. I would be not only honored if I could work in the Trump administration, I would be duty-bound to support it. America is back. I would be delighted. I'm not going to say anything else at this point, but it would be a duty to accept that kind of offer, should it be in a position that makes sense. Don't ask me to talk about Obamacare or agriculture.
but national security is your thing.
National security is my thing, yes it is.
Let me ask you about something else going on right now. We're looking at some live pictures coming into us right now of Mike Pence with Chuck Schumer. There's a lot of bridge building that needs to happen right now, Dr. Gorka, and we've heard from some members of the Democratic Party. Again, if that video is live, we should take a look at it coming in as we watch the Vice President-elect and Chuck Schumer meet. But, you know, they're talking about all this, you know, needing to mend fences, this bridge building, yet so many Democrats are resistant to that idea. You know, we heard when Obama was asked today, President Obama was asked, should those protesters continue in the streets? And he effectively said, yeah, no, don't stand down. The protests are okay. It feels almost as though they're trying to still give themselves a platform. But right now, we got a lot to do. How do they bring them in?
We do, Trish, but look at the reality. These people who are protesting and the people who say that Trump doesn't have a chance on the Hill, not only has the White House gone to the Republican candidate, so has the Senate, so has the House. By vast numbers, there are more Republican governors and state senates that are in Republican hands now. We haven't seen this for 70 years. So the idea that there's some built-in obstacle or gridlock, again, is completely fallacious. This is a man who has broken all the rules. The fact, just the decision last week to have the Reince Priebus Chief of Staff position, along with Steve Bannon as Chief Advisor. What does that tell you, Trish? This is a man who's unifying the right even before he becomes president. Masterful.
Yeah,
Masterful.
you know, I don't have time to ask you about Nikki Haley, but she's there, Governor Nikki Haley, meeting with Donald Trump today as well, and that would certainly be a bridge that he needs to cross there, because she was very critical of him, as many were in the Republican Party initially. Dr. Gorka, thank you so much. Good to have you here, sir. We're going